Yes. Uh, yes. I think in the beginning we discussed about that introduction about the psychotherapeutic technique. We will getting into that the first therapeutic technique of Adlerian therapy, that is on spitting in the soup. Uh, uh, Spitting in the soup is a technique used in Adlerian counseling and therapy as a therapeutic technique. We all know that therapy is on a treatment for the illness or disease. Here, Adlerian therapy widely used for mental illnesses. When we have, it may be on mild, moderate, or severe level. If you have any kind of mental illness, and these therapeutic techniques are most effective technique, and we must know when to use and what occasion we have to use, how to use that detail. I'm going to present with you, and end of my presentation, you will understand that thoroughly what is this technique is. And when you look at that, almost all the therapeutic techniques developed by the person, but later it was refined or modified or adapted most effectively for the benefit of the users done by many people. And here also, Adlerian therapeutic technique we developed originally, but later it was developed by many other peoples also. And according to Dreikos and Adler, they use this metaphor. Okay, so the main aim of this technique is the client having the problem, expose the client what they are actually doing. Okay, in for why we are making that, they have to understand what they are doing, to realize that there are certain things which is inappropriate to the other members or inappropriate to the social norms, and make them which is not suitable, is tasteful for the person to repeat the same kind of action again. That is the main aim of this technique, according to these two persons. And we will start from that origin of spitting in the soup technique. When we take the root, it is a German proverb. Okay, the spitting in the soup is a German proverb, um, um, where it is an Adlerian used paradoxical Adlerian technique. Paradoxical means again and again, again and again. When we do that, we at one point of time it may saturate it. That we can say that paradoxical. This is a paradoxical Adlerian technique used for what? To decrease that the client who are having that inappropriate expressions, inappropriate behavior, inappropriate thought, to cut down those or the symptoms which is related to that inappropriate behavior. For that purpose, this technique is used. And um, the purpose of this technique is to create awareness about the client, to understand that what they are doing is wrong, and they may enjoy that doing the particular behavior by this technique. And as a counselor, we have to make them understand the client that what you're doing is wrong. Okay, and that need to be, we have to discuss or make a conversation with the client and come up with many strategy, and we have to ask them which one you feel more comfortable. We'll say one by one. Adler believed even if the client chooses to maintain that symptoms, sometimes, for example, thumb sucking. Well, I'm giving one example for it because many of us we may aware about it. Thumb sucking, the person feel more comfortable. Okay, and they say that no one is saying that, you only saying that it is inappropriate. That the defense mechanism from the people who are practicing it say like this. Vivid that there are many of the people who are aware about that the behavior what they are exhibiting is uncomfortable to other members or which is not accepted by the society, but they believe it. What they are doing is right. In such a behavior, okay, we here mean the counselor. We have to make the client to realize that what they are doing is wrong, and by altering that particular behavior, what are the benefits they will get. So this is the role of the counselor according to Adler. And uh, in this technique, for most of the client, okay, and the knowledge about that symptoms, for example, the knowledge about the inappropriate behavior, inappropriate thought, inappropriate emotions, and make the people, it is an early, they may be more fond about it, they are more addicted to that. And as a role of counselor, make it less attracted towards the particular practice. Okay, so that is a primary principle of this technique. If, okay, when the counselor make the client less attractive to the particular behavior, or the technique which is mentioned by the counselor, the counselor feel that which is not effective, which is not beneficial, and they may ask that why I have to discontinue the particular thing. I'm not getting any benefit out of when I discontinue that behavior. You feel that which is not appropriate for the social conditions. So that is the question they will ask you, and in that case, your role is make them be inattractive of the particular behavior. The counselor role here, if there may be any practicing or professional counselors, need not to encourage. For example, the client says that I don't want to do that. When you force them and make them, and it will not be more effective, and it will not have any benefit to the client. So what we have to understand that you just allow them to continue the behavior. We cannot able to, the next day we have to cut the particular inappropriate behavior in a person. It is practically not possible. We allow the person to practice. Okay, and as a role of counselor, as a professional counselor, you should not say that you stop right now. No, do that. What you can do that as a counselor, you can acknowledge the behavior. See, if the person is doing something, it has some purpose. I'll tell you. As we are aware about the gratification. Okay, according to Sigmund Freud, the libido is a life instinct. What he said that why people are smoking. He himself was a chain smoker, and he said that he was not gratified breastfeeding from his mother. So when he was not gratified in breastfeeding, so he tried to find out other way to counter that. That's why he is more bound about smoking. And here, a person doing particular activity which is not appropriate for the society, or which is not appropriate for the particular conditions, norms, and we have to make them to aware about that. Okay, so this behavior is happening, it has some purpose. That means the person's gratification is not attained somewhere else, and he is doing in that way, and he is getting gratification. So that is the thing we have to take up here. And the purpose is here, we have to validate. So what we have to validate, whether that strategy we have adapted or the behavior, the experience by the client is unuseful. See, when I'm doing something, when you are giving that alternative, you have to check yourself whether the alternative is useful for me, or merely make it to replicate. I'll give you the example for here. The chain smokers. Okay. What is the alternative for the smokers? There are many people who are many alternatives who come into the practice to counter that cigarette smoking. For example, e-smoking. Okay, they said that it's having only the vapor of nicotine, and they found that it is more harmful than that normal smoking. And later now it is banned in almost all the country. Okay, so what other substitute is there for smokers? They will go for nicotine chewing gum, and the people, they feel that it has no purpose, and the purpose is only replace that one, and it will not be effective. And unless the person who is taken up the thing, he feels that it is ineffective, then only it will be, you can able to suggest that particular technique will be practiced. Okay. I hope you can able to follow. Your role is, I will sum up here. The counselor role is when you found some inappropriate behavior in a person, it may be on any developmental stages, and you are making uncomfortable the particular behavior. You want to create an awareness among the client. The client feel that it is ineffective. In that conditions, your role is not to stop that particular behavior. You allow them. That is your role. And second one is you have to understand that if the behavior is there in a person, inappropriate behavior is there in a person, it has a purpose. Something he was not gratified, as he was not gratified, and it is emerged, and that we need to understand. So when this clue gives an idea to the counselor, the root cause of the problem, and we may find we must make a contract with the counseling, with the client, and we have to come up with that. Okay, what is the more appropriate? Okay, if we don't want to, for example, if the children are asking something, and if it is not there, they may ask an alternate. The same way, you have to ask with the client. Okay, if it is not, you feel more comfortable. Which one you feel more comfortable? You have to ask from them. From that perspective, you have to move on there. And there are many studies were carried out. And as I said, no, and these techniques were done in that 80 years back, but now there are recent studies were also done on spitting on the soup. According to Rasmussen and Dovers, by understanding that it is a client desire, that's why we have to make it very important thing in this spitting in the soup technique. When the client is agree with that, he desire to make a change. Okay, and that is a ideal space for implementing these things. And the client desire to feel as good as possible. Then only the counsel, as a counsel, you can work with the client to find out better way to overcome the particular problem. We can set a goal. Okay, this the person is willing to change. Then if it is so, it will be more effective when you make on the strategy, when you make on goal, and that will be more effective, and we can able to reach the goal very easily. And for example, we set a goal. Okay, and the goal setting, I'll tell you, there are target. Just imagine that there's a target. There are a straight way we can able to reach the target, and there are other way also there. So when we are setting the goal for that to adopt that particular maladaptive behavior, we can say that these are the ways are available. If you know that, we can say to them. If not, we can ask the client themselves. Okay, so which one you feel more comfortable to reach that goal? Which one way you will select? And in that way, as a counselor, we have to engage them to substitute that the behavior which they have already done. It is a better way you can replace the inappropriate, abnormal, or abnormal behavior among the client. I hope you understand that. And Adler believed that maintaining that particular symptom means the inappropriate one. The client must fight against maybe you take any one of the negative thoughts or the behavior which is not accepted by many members in the particular culture. And you take that one, you can say them, they have to admit that what they are doing is wrong. Just they have to internalize, okay, so this one is not appropriate here. And when we do that, and your purpose of the goal setting will be more effective, you can able to alter the behavior of an individual. And spitting in the soup, here you are spoiling the clean conscience of the client. Means the person who are more comfortable with that. I will take an best example, thumb sucking. They will be more comfortable in doing that. Here we are going to make the person, I think, mostly in your family members, the elder members, they may have done that. Aloe vera. Aloe vera is a very bitter taste. So what they will do, the people who are thumb sucking, they will, when they were sleeping, they will just paste it in the fingers. Okay, when they suck, and immediately they will remove by themselves. You need not to take them. For example, sometime when we remove them, it may come, but when you do that, and they may not like to put it again. And this is the one thing. And I remember other substitute for that. They may use neem oils. In such a things, we have to make it to they feel uncomfortable. Okay. And when they do that, the mistaken behavior or inappropriate behavior will be no longer will be continued by the client. So that is the whole essence of this spitting in the soup. There are, as I said, there are many literatures and studies where quoted this spitting in the soup. Okay. It is a bridge. What they are saying that what happened when we exposed the hidden agenda or goal? As I said, when we do something inappropriate behavior, it has some agenda, some purpose is there in the person. Okay, the client may have the purpose. They may feel that they're more comfortable. They may not get something. They are substituting this one. They feel more comfortable here. So it is a self-defeating behavior. Our role as a counselor role is when the counselor is accurate about his service. It is very, very important. Sometimes, I'll give one example here. The counselors, we may also have a biased or abnormal thought or idea. Okay, the client may have the correct one. Client may have the correct one. In that case, we may judge the behavior of that client is wrong. Okay, based on our learning and based on our observation. And that's why here in this technique, we are saying that as a counselor, we have to make an observation, the particular behavior which is not appropriate. We have to make a thorough observation and make it more scientific and evidence-based. We have to make it. We have to tell the client, it may be in illustrate more detailed way we can say to the client, what you are doing is inappropriate. And when you say these things, when I do this, you feel more uncomfortable. When you do these things, more uncomfortable. And these information must be passed on to the person. Knowingly or unknowingly, can get a consent from that client, then you can proceed with that. So this is already there in the year 1899 writing also. The main purpose of this technique is make the person adjust to the society. For example, I'm having the behavior which is not accepted by the society. When I want to make it accepted by the society, that is the main aim, well adjusted. And there is a term I think you may hear from that humanistic psychology, concurrence. What is the meaning of that? Adler's theory is on individual psychology. Am I right? Adler's theory is on individual psychology. And concurrence is another term used by Carl Rogers, where we are having that ideal self and real self. Have you heard the term? Anybody aware about that? Who is a well-adjusted person?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you know. Just imagine that this is an ideal self. So this is a real self. So this real self want to become an ideal self. If the gap is more and that person is called mal-adjusted or not adjusted person. And these two are very close, the person is well adjusted. And this technique is making that one. That means, for example, the society having the norms or the expectations of parents is something. And if the children are not doing and their expectations not close to the children's behavior, and there is a maladjustment. We have to make it very close. That is the main aim of this technique. I can say that splitting in the soup means make the practice of the particular behavior uncomfortable to the person. Okay. And in this technique, the client may to learn that when something is irritating happen, do not give the record response. Okay, and it will extinct by itself. I'll give one more example. When we are getting itching in any of the body part, generally what we will do? Generally what we will do? We will give
That's
more.
nicely, sir.
Yes, and that will make a more pain to us. And when we are not focusing on that, when you are shifting the focus to somewhere else, that way also can be done. And it is not only negative way. And when we are changing the thought process, also we can able to make a change. Can you able to get what I'm trying to say?
Very true, sir. It's not just with itching, also with pains it happens.
Yes, thank you. And when someone's sitting in this intentionally, he want to see hyper state just for the sake of fun, especially the children in the family. Excuse me. Especially the children are the students in the classroom. So they try to make the teachers more angry, or the children try to make the parents are angry. Okay, So they purposefully will do that. When we give the attention to that, we feel more irritating, more anger, more frustrated. When we are not giving focus on that, we are shifting that, and we can able to overcome from that. Am I right? Yes. Thank you. And what about other members? Other than Chandra, no one is responding. Okay. Okay. See, in either way, you can make it. One is not giving important to that disturbing thing. One way we can able to make it change in our behavior, and another one is some behavior is uncomfortable. We can make it spitting in that one. We can able to make a change. Two way we can able to make. The client here, they don't give the response when something is making ill effect to the person. They may not give response to that. When we do continuously do that, and one point of time, that particular thing, it will not disturb us. It will not disturb us. And the purpose of this technique is for the counselors to point out that irrational or maladaptive behavior in a client. What is irrational behavior? Irrational thought, irrational emotions, which means which is not normal at all. Some people, they may have that over thought. Over thought means it may not be happen in realistic. I'll give you some of that irrational thought. Yes, they will say that your God came and talked to me yesterday night. There is no rational at all. And when we give important to that, I'm giving one example. Likewise, if I go that someone will hit, what will happen? There are these kind of thoughts very common, and one of the studies is saying that these irrational thoughts, what we are holding in our mind, very rarely, 0.03% chances are there what we think may happen for normal people. And if you are an extrasensory perception person, that means if we can able to predict the future, and your thought may be, what I can say, that it may be more in numbers, but generally, what we assume that, for example, if you have done something wrong, and someone is, you feel that if they come to know that they may not know about it, and we may have the fabricated information, a small problem into bigger one. Same thing. And here we have to find out that irrational thought. That way we can able to, it may be uncomfortable to the person, the client, and make them to aware about what they are doing. And the goal of counsel is make the maladaptive behavior appear less appealing to the client. That means, one example, as I said earlier, thumb sucking. There are many other ways you can connect with that. Not only these things. You can connect any of the behavior you feel uncomfortable. Maybe anything. For example, the stage fear is there. Yes, you can take it. Likewise, any problem you found that you can connect with that and make the thing less appealing to the client. And make the inappropriate behavior, inappropriate thought, inappropriate emotions. We have to decrease that experiences in a person. So that is the main aim of this technique. And when we want to achieve 100% in this technique, the only way is you have to develop a rapport. Rapport means, and it's not possible in a single sitting itself. Single sitting itself, it is very difficult. We have to understand that it takes a time. Rapport building. When you build a rapport, they will understand that, okay, this person will do, yes, what they are expected from that this thing. And yes, the person can do that. I can give my personal example here. When many of the people who are talking over a phone, so they thought that, imagine that I'm a person 50 plus. They may thought, I don't know, because of the voice they are hearing from that telephone, they may thought when they come here, mostly I'm taking for relationship counseling. When they come here, and how can you do that? I think you are more so young here, and we thought that you are more elder person who can able to give. So when the beginning itself, they had an idea about these things, I will inform them. Don't worry. So I'm not going to give the solution for the problem what they are going. I'm going to facilitate. This is the way I convince them. Even if they are not convinced, we can able to see from the face itself. From the face itself, the body language we can able to understand. And from that, I can say them, okay, So I cannot help you. Can you please, if you don't know, can I refer some other members in my area? So I refer to the elder members from my known circle and I'll forward them. Even they will get an input from me. That is the reality. So when we want to make a change, a client, especially that maladaptive behavior or maladaptive thinking, irrational thought, or negative emotions in a person, we have to build a rapport. When you've done so, you can able to make a change. If not, this will not work for any kind of counselor. And in the beginning itself, as I said, something maladaptive behavior is there in a person. As a counselor, we have to understand that there is a motive behind that particular behavior. When you want to correct the particular behavior, you feel that this behavior is inappropriate. We want to correct that. Why the person is behaving that way? Why? That when we get answer for that why person, we come to know that the root cause for that. When we address the root cause, we can able to solve the problem very quickly. And when the counselor understand the motives, that means the root cause of the problem, then the counselor can point out to the client that because the when we say from the other members, when we make the client to realize that this is the thing inappropriate or not appropriate for the particular situation, not only for that behavior, even for the situation also we can tell to the client. By saying to the client, make them to the behavior they are practicing in day-to-day life is not good, and we have to make them unappealing to the client. So that is the main aim here in this technique. And the client and the counselor, it's not only the counselor will say that what I'm saying that you can do that. No, both client as well as counselor, they have to work for an effective behavior. Okay, when we want to replace the present maladaptive behavior, and we may have to think about that. Okay, if we want to change the particular behavior, what is the appropriate behavior? So is there only one option? Is there? If there is more than one options, and what are they? And we have to present to the client, and we have to get a consent from them, and which one you feel more comfortable. And if you have any idea, you can come up with that. There's a mutual between the counselor and client for if they want to make an effective change in that maladaptive behavior, we have to sit together and then work on it. Okay. Some researchers, some inputs, we have to understand that. As I said, Adlerian therapy has some 14 techniques, 14 techniques. And this technique we can use solely, but it will be more effective. This technique generally commonly used along with other Adlerian techniques. What is other Adlerian technique? For example, the social support. When we are having that social relation, we may be able to overcome many of our problems. And the perception what we are holding individually. For example, my opinion about Mr. X. How I developed that opinion about Mr. X? By observing, right? And the information I'm hearing about the person from other members. So from my perspective and other members, and it will make on sometimes we may have the thought that the person may be good. Other people will say that there is an fear that this confidence may not be there. Sometimes it may be both aligned. And this technique is used in Adlerian therapy along with other techniques which is there in Adlerian technique. Like acting as if enacting miracle position, there are paradoxical intention. These were the other techniques which is widely used in Adlerian therapy. When we can use, for example, in more specifically, if you want to know that when these techniques can be used, spitting in the soup can be applied in case of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and abuses, especially people verbal or physical or sexual abuses were experienced, and that time these techniques will be more appropriate and it is more effective. And these are the two. This post-traumatic situation, a sudden loss in the family, an accident, or a failure in something, and these are the situations the person having more stress, acute stress will be there, and that time these technique will be more appropriate. And this technique we have to understand that more accuracy because we are making that particular behavior uncomfortable to the client. That's why they are saying that it is more aggressive in nature. But can be effective in right setting. When we do it at right place at right time, it will be more effective. This technique will be more effective. And what is the role of that therapist here? As I said earlier, well-established rapport is very important. The first one, it is needed between the counselor and the client. The basic use of this technique is to scan the client's relatively successful performance for one flaw that may be major or minor. I'll give one example. When after building the rapport, the client may come forward. When we are doing that, when we are observing, we found that it may be minor or major. That may be the cause for that maladaptive behavior. Okay. Once the counselor, as a counselor, you come to know that the flaw is, we found that. Okay. Your role is you have to point out that. You have to inform the client these need to be modified. Okay. When you do the modifications appropriate to the norms, appropriate to the social expectation, and these are the benefits you will get, and that thing should be done by the counselors. That should be done by the counselors. It is important when using this technique that counselor is non-conformational and accept that client decision is final. Okay. See, we cannot force them. You have to do that. That is the thing. Non-conformational means when the client may take a decision that whether I can go for it or not. Okay. So yes, I want to change the behavior, then you can move on that. Or else you can just leave it. So that is the main important thing. Don't force on yourself. And when we have to use, as I said, some of the two conditions when these techniques can be used. There are two situations that found it is particularly very useful for this putting on the suit technique. One is, for example, when the student, I still remember myself when I was doing my school education, almost all the teachers will say that I'm good at mathematics. So my maths teacher will ask, they generally, if I'm after, they won't find fault in me. And that over confidence, So one of the average students scored better than me in that final exams. It happened. Likewise, in a social science teacher and Tamil, these are the subjects I felt more connected with them. And these teachers in the classroom, when they will say that, okay, you know everything, you go and do something in the next class. So you do for assistant to the other teachers. These were the things they make me. And when the academically sound students, they may have the bad habits. That means they may not respect the teachers. And they thought that their answer give the marks. Generally, it not only give that is not the only thing give the marks. I still remember when it comes to that, and even take my exam, there are two students are there, they equally scored. When I want to make only one student for the first mark for it is on 20,000 rupees or Rajiv Gandhi National School, where I have to give a 20,000 scholarship to the person. And these two students are scored equal marks. Then I was given a chance, you have to select anyone whom I will give preference. The student very close to me and the student who express appropriate behavior in the classroom or when we are making interaction, that person will help you. The same thing will happen here. And when the students are academically good, they may also have some bad habits. And these things we have to make them aware about that. There are many parents who will say that don't focus not only your academic, you have to focus with the relationship also. Have good relationship with other members, have a good relationship with the teachers that will make you to get better in your academic competence. Okay. So these academically sound students, they may mismanage that the conditions available in front of them. Gifted children, generally they are asking more questions, they may know better than the teachers, they are more super student in the classroom. They are academically strong in the classroom, but sometimes they develop maladaptive behavior. That means they may not give respect to the teachers, which is socially not accepted. And when other members are saying, why are you giving preference to that child? There are many, the adamant child and the rude child, these were the name given by the teacher. He is very good in academic, but he is very rude. when you get this word means that is a maladaptive behavior, and these conditions we can use this. So as a counselor, you can spit in the soup can help the student to realize that yes, this maladaptive behavior is unnecessary. We have to behave politely to the teacher. In addition to that, academically, when we are strong, then only we can able to survive, and that role we have to make. And another example here, mostly generally mother, what they will do. Generally, mother will say that when they were fought with the children, okay, and they will say that, you know, how much, when they were talked about that, how much I sacrificed for you, how much I sacrificed for the family members. That means when they hear that, the therapist would then know that it is unfortunate that she has to suppress that artistic side of herself. That means she may have something, even compromising these things, and she is helping the family members. Okay. Now, when the mother sacrifices for the kids, she is also made aware that they know, she aware that it is less desirable. See, she may like something, but compared to that, this one is better, the less desirable. So that's why she is helping for the kids. Okay. So see, value what need to be given. The same thing we can convey to the client. There are two options are there. Which one has a more value? That you can focus on that. And how we can do this fitting understood. As I said earlier, building rapport is mandatory. Okay. When to implement these things, rapport building, and I think we need a dedicated session for this rapport building. Many of the time we are saying that rapport building, and we may think that when they come and tell me your name, how are you, that is a rapport building. No. Rapport building is connecting yourself, the client, and the client must feel more comfortable. Yes, this person definitely can help me. That is rapport building. When they got on that thought in their mind. Okay. When we are not developing a rapport, there are high chances are that the client may reject that the technique we are suggesting to the client. Okay, before implementing this spitting in the soup, the client must ask some of the questions. It must be useful for formulating the hypothesis, the code setting. The purpose of how do you gain from this behavior or emotions? Okay, when some behavior you felt that is not appropriate, you can put a word to the client. Does anything positive come as a result of your behavior or emotion? And they will think about that. Really, they may not be realize that the maladaptive behavior has an effect or not. And when we ask these questions, which will make them to think about it, this is also spitting on the soup. When we may think that not only aggressive way to deal with that, when we ask him a rational question, and they felt really comfortable, when we are making uncomfortable, also spitting in the soup. So these questions will also play an important role in this technique. And if you were to give the behavior emotion today, so what would be your loss? Suppose we are changing your maladaptive behavior, so what you will lose, what you will gain? When we ask these questions, and there is a high chances are that we can able to make a change in client behavior. And when we want to make these techniques more effective, we have to understand that the full purpose and the capacity to bring change in the behavior of an individual. When we are implementing this technique, we have to keep in the mind that Adler believed most maladaptive behavior to be the result of, there may be, as I said, the particular maladaptive behavior, there is a cause for that, a root for that, poor social interest. So why I have to do that? Those people are not caring about me. Why I have to do for them? The poor social interest. And second one is feeling of inferiority. And finally, the irrational issues. These were the points we found that. These were the causes. When we address these root causes, we can help the person to come out from that. There is one more study recently, Abbott and Stewart, 2003, maintained that unhealthy behavior are symptoms typically results from avoidance of self-demands and tasks or from an effort to gain power and attention or love. See, why we are having that unhealthy behavior? See, something we want to avoid, that's why we are doing. The people who are depending on alcohol, they feel something uncomfortable in family, they want to change that. To avoid those things, they are going here. Or they are doing it maladaptive behavior in a way they may feel power, they may gain something, or they may not get something good from that, the love or other thing from the members in the family. And there is one more study in the year 2006, Dovos et al. A client has developed a way of life that enables him or her to reach a desired goal. When you want to make a change in that inappropriate behavior, that method need to be flawed. Defect, we have to make it. So, typical motivations and maladaptive symptoms, it may be the following symptoms. How we can find out that? The use of anger outburst to gain a power. See, when the children, they want to get a power, or someone in the classroom, someone in the politics, they want to get a power, they want the anger outburst to be there. They burst out. Okay. Or may they respect or control. So these are the things they use it. And psychosis symptom may use for that. For example, to gain the nurturing and the support from other members. For example, when you feel very sad, the family members will ask you, why you feel sad? For that reason, the people may feel that they feel very sad about it. Okay. And they feel more helpless to avoid responsibility and task. When they want to take up, don't want to take up any responsibility, they will say that I don't feel well, so I can't do that. Lack of self-care for to gain display of love and affection from significant others. So these were some of the root cause for that maladaptive behavior in a person, and that can be changed. And here is one more example for the 3-year-old child will generally will show that maladaptive behavior such as temper tantrum. Why the children is doing temper tantrum? To gain tangible item or avoid a task. Okay, when you say the child to work something, the child is not comfortable, they will avoid the task, and they will do temper tantrum because they want to gain something. We can find out the older children, adolescents, and even adults continuously engage in similar version of this behavior. We can find out even after many years. These kind of things we can find out in family members. By spitting in the soup, as a trained professional counselors, they will show the client that what she or he gained from her symptoms. So you can, as you said earlier, asking the question. So what you will get from this? You have to put a question to the client, and next one is we have to acknowledge as a count. We have to acknowledge that client may continue using these symptoms even after aware about the knowledge. Okay, why they are using? They may the number of frequency may come down, but even they may use it. Here, the client may continue to display the symptom, but when you feel that, when you ask a question and it may come down, that the interest may come down. Okay, they may not feel that the same kind of things really they had. When you ask in a way the questions which is they feel uncomfortable, why you are doing so. So that will make them to really they may be more interestingly, unconsciously they have done the particular activity, but now they may do, but they may feel that the taste of the experiences may come down. Okay. And the counselor identify the motive behind that self-defeating, as I said, many of the time, the client having that particular behavior, self-defeating behavior, it hasn't caused, we have to understand that, and we have to go and ruin that client's particular cause, then we make that behavior unappealing to the client. Martin, it is said by even positive psychologists. See, Adler given long back, the positive psychologist Martin Seligman is the father of positive psychology. He also mentioned the same technique and which is adapted in positive psychology also. Here we can find out even when the people are aware about that, what they are doing is wrong, and they continue, but they may not enjoy that activity what they have done earlier, but less enjoyment will be there. When we do that splitting in the soup technique, and the client, they may not enjoy what they are, the maladaptive behavior, they may not enjoy later. The counselor has spoiled that behavior, the game already played by the client, that we can go from the problem in the client by making mutual contact between the client. When encountering resistance, sometimes the client may not, their capacity to resist. They don't want to change that, even after using this technique. And we have to sit together and why, even after spitting on the soup, why the particular behavior surfacing and which is more stronger than earlier, or it not having any decrease the intensity of the expression of the particular maladaptive behavior. We have to analyze that. That means we may not be strike out that exact root cause of the problem. So our instead of switching on here, we have switched on somewhere else. That need to be understand that exploration need to be done by the counselors. When the counselor resists to change in a behavior, there are many reasons for that. Okay. So when we are setting the goal, the first goal is not achieved, and we have to go for other. And it is because there are many reasons are that when we feel that the counseling technique is more effective only, there are many reasons are that the counselor may not have that sympathetic understanding about the client. The counselor we may not have sympathetic, and we may not understand that we are not supportive enough to the client to change the maladaptive behavior, or the counselor disagree with that the persons who are taken up. They may come up with something, but you may say that something and be too direct to that problem, and they may not like it. And there are many other motivations to change, and these are the factors which is there hidden when the client is resist to accept that spitting on the soup, and that also need to be understood by the counselors. When the technique is not effective, okay, we have to redefine the goal. Don't start with that. Okay, sometimes we thought that we have to start. Okay, we are not able to. We can refer to somebody. No, you can sit along with them. Don't think that there are particular problems. There are many ways we can be able to reach the destination, the goal. And this one is not working. We can try another one, like a trial and error. Once you come to know that by experiences, for example, over a period of your experience with such a maladaptive behavior correction, you come to know, oh, this kind of person, this will be more effective. That understanding you will get. And the employees here, the council will employ the methods to increase the client motivation. When you look at that almost any kind of theory, here we have to look into that client perspective only, and focus and establishment must be made, or we can re-establish the rapport in a deeper level that can help us to overcome the problem. If there is any variations in the spitting in the soup, I think as per the, for example, other techniques, there are many variations, many things are there, but this technique has no variations. Okay, these are no variations. And even the literature we have gone through, it depends on the present symptom, the motivator, the client and counselor. From that we can move on there. And there are case study I'm going to share with you. How much time we are having? So we are having much time here. I'll tell you a case study. I think instead of reading the case study from my side, anyone can you please read the case for me? Anyone? So this yeah.
Subha is a 46-year-old female who has been referred from a medical clinic designed to treat chronic pain. Subha describes symptoms consistent with depression and emphasizes her complaints of physical pain, which leave her feeling unable to function regularly. To date, these physical complaints have no medical explanation, therefore, resulting in her referral for counseling.
Okay. So the diagnosis to treatment, actually the spelling mistake is here. Lovely. I hope you all understand that case in detail. A 46-year-old female. Okay. and she was referred by the clinical center. They diagnosed for the chronic pain, the person having the pain, and she's referred to that person, counselor, for depression, and what is the cause for that particular pain, why she is feeling that thing. They want to know that there is, to want to get the explanation for that, the problem she is encountered. So they refer the counselor, which is about the case. Yes. And here is a conversation between the counselor and the client. Okay. And I request, there are two persons. I think, Muthu sir, can you play the role of counselor? And Dr. Archana, can you do the role of client?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Muthu sir, you can go for the counselor.
Sure, sir. I'll do that. So you have felt this way for some time now, though you are not sure exactly when it began. Can you recall what life was like before?
Yeah.
I come from a large family and I'm the oldest out of my other four siblings. My mom died when I was really young and I was 11. Dad started drinking a lot after she died. He really never was the same. So it was almost like we lost both our parents at the same time, just in different ways.
Lovely, lovely. So, over to you, sir.
That must have been extremely hard for you.
I almost didn't notice at the time how hard it was. I was too busy picking up the extra slack with mom gone and dad passed out all the time. There was no one to take care of the others. It all fell on me. I was the one who had to take care of everyone else, including dad. I don't remember stopping long enough to feel sad. And then one day I decided to get married. Part of it was just so I could get out of the house and pass the responsibilities on to my younger sister. But soon I got pregnant and had my first daughter, then another, and I was at it again, taking care of everybody else. I just got so tired, so very tired.
Lovely. Yes.
Sounds like you never really had a break.
Never, never, sir. And then Charles left. That was my husband. That was years ago. We are still married, I guess. He calls every now and then. He moved up state somewhere, sends money every so often. My girls were angry at me for him leaving. They started running all over me too. And my younger brothers still need taking care of, even as grown men. One is constantly in and out of jail. He's always needing help getting back on his feet. One is alcoholic and is always needing to be rescued. My sister is on a disability and I have to keep her kids sometimes. And my dad, his health is really bad now. I have tried my best to take care of him as well. I would go get his groceries every week and try to keep his house clean. And now to top it all off, I'm having all this physical pain that doctors can't seem to find a reason for.
Seems to never end.
Exactly, sir. And why is this happening to me of all people?
That doesn't seem fair.
Not fair at all. My life has been hard enough, filled with unfairness already, enough to last a lifetime. I'm sick of it.
Exactly. Sick of it indeed. Sick of your life because of your life.
What do you mean?
Is there any part of you that wants to be sick?
No, I don't want to feel this way. Why would I want to be sick? I am the victim in all of this.
Let me ask it differently. Do you benefit at all in any small way from being sick?
No.
So if suddenly you are well tomorrow, you wouldn't be giving anything up.
Well, yes, I would lose this wonderful break I'm currently getting. My family would expect me to take care of all of them again. My brothers would constantly want money. My sister needing constant help. My daughters angry and hateful to me all the time. Oh, oh dear. Seems that maybe I do benefit some from being sick.
It seems that only way you have figured out to give yourself a break from taking care of everyone else's to be the one that needs taking care of. It is okay. It's okay to continue being sick if it sometimes you feel better. If it gets your needs met, it is okay for now.
See, when you listen the conversation, why the client, the root cause of the problem, now we are very clear. What is the root cause of the problem? Unexplained. Yeah, yes. Now we will go for a discussion. Yes.
So the client feels that continuously she's on responsibility at home. At her home, she had to look after her father, the youngsters, younger siblings, and after getting married, again the children, her husband. So she feels if she continues complaining about that she's sick, she'll get more attention and she can be relieved of all these continued responsibilities.
So what is the counselor has to play important role here?
Counselor says yes, he makes her to realize that to accept that she's every time complaining that she's sick, not because she's sick, because she wants to escape.
Yes.
And he also says at the end, he makes her realize that at the same time at the end he says, okay, if it gives you some benefit, okay, maybe continue for some time.
See, now the counselor made her to understand that what is her problem from her perspective, from her answer itself. Am I right? So that is the thing we are going to make, and in a way we have to ask the question, we have to realize these things. And there are few more perspectives also. Any other than understanding here, any other inputs are from your side, please welcome here. So this is about the case. I think this case is very common. There are many people who are coming for the counseling. You can find out nearly 80% of client will be like that only. So what's your take from this case? So where you have to play on more effectively. So I'm asking the questions to all the members here. Yes.
Understanding the root of the problem.
Lovely. So here, what is the root cause of the problem?
Her thought process, like, do we challenge her thought?
Lovely. Yeah, here is the thought process is the problem.
Irrational thoughts.
Yes.
Irrational thoughts.
Yes. And she's having that irrational thought. Lovely. Any other? See, there is one term we may aware about that, psychosomatic symptoms. What is that? What is the meaning of it?
Our thoughts affect, they cause diseases.
Very good. So here the thought create a pain in that person. That is the way when we make the client aware about that, your irrational thought creates a pain. So when you change that irrational thought, you can able to overcome. So that's the one thing. So the same client, if there is any other way we can able to help the client other than that. And before I would like to appreciate Muthu sir and Dr. Archana for amazingly have done that case study, especially the role play have done it. Amazing, amazing. Even it is not planned, it is on spontaneity. I think you have done 200% perfectly. You have done. My appreciation for that. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So, okay, now leave the case. Now tell me that what are the situations or any other cases you feel that this technique can be applied? Can you give me one answer for that? See, this is the one case. And I said one more example, thumb checking. Likewise, any other cases, any other situation, any other problem, and you feel that this technique will be more effective. Can you come up with answer for that?
For the parents, especially as a mom, like it's only because of children and it's only everything is turning on my head and I have to look around everything. It's a normal issue we can hear from all the, the women's, the young ladies. It's very common. We ask, just get to them, it's only if I have to look after the family, I have to look after the kids, everything is on my head and I have no time to relax. And so that's what common we just find out, I thought just strikes me now relating to that
Right.
case.
Exactly. I think even I too had the same kind of thing only. I don't know. I think you got it from I thought.
Yeah, just similar to
Yes.
that
Any
case.
other- Yes.
Can I ask a question here, sir?
Yes, please. Yes.
You have told that PTSD, if anything related to traumatic or any stressful. So how does this we can use this technique, sir?
Yeah,
If that was really traumatic events or something, really, very stressful, and I just need help from.
So when the person is on PTSD, they are worried about a lot. Am I right? Worry. So if there is any benefit of worrying about that particular incident, the shock or the loss they got it, and when we make them to realize that there won't be any benefit out of it, then we can able to record them.
So is it also trauma kind of? Can we say is it loss also
Yes.
So for that also we can apply this.
Yeah, that also we can apply, but we have to make the person realize that when we suffer for that incident, what is the benefit out of it? When we make them, they may not get anything, and they will we have to make them to realize that what they are doing is wrong. They may feel that worrying is more comfortable, and our role is we have to make them it is not comfortable for you. That will make a more problem to you. That is the point we have to make. Yes,
So
any other? Yeah. Yes.
one more example which I feel may be applied effectively is
Yes.
the OCD patients. The client who has got a OCD problem, for example, they keep going round and round a temple, or they keep telling the same thing at home, thinking that their this abnormal behavior actually protects someone. Like only because of their abnormal behavior, the family's thing is going in the correct path.
Yeah, lovely, sir. Actually, there are here I would like to quote here for OCD. OCD is a little complex mental disorder, as per my understanding, because neurotransmitter plays a role, and the behavioral component also play a role. And we have to make a combination of technique to solve these. And as per the study, there is no 100% effective technique is available as of now. There is no 100%, any therapy is available, 100% that will cure these OCD. But there are one technique which has a 78% of 70 plus percentage. Huge effect. That is an exposure therapy. And when we look at that, spitting in the soup and exposure therapy are more or less similar. So exposure therapy, we consciously make the person to make aware about what they are doing and here, and the spitting in the soup, the same thing in the negative way. Little aggressive way. That is the basic difference. I think the right example, sir. Thank you so much for that. Other members, can you able to come up with any example here? And I will do say that few more case studies also. And the evaluation when we make that, uh, in the beginning days, they said that there is no such evidence, but now there are many people who done a study with these techniques in different years. They found that this technique plays an important role to solve the problem. And these were the references I made. API format I have done that. I will share with you. And I think we have successfully completed, and I'm going to give an worksheet for you. Why worksheet is, when you notice my presentation, most of the time I said maladaptive behavior. So that is the point, as I said. So when you listed out that what are the behaviors are maladaptive, then you can use this technique. Very simple way to use this technique more effectively. You list out that what are the things comes under maladaptive behavior or abnormal behavior. The listed behavior, you just put it. And once after doing that, I think this is an assignment for you. I think we cannot able to complete that acting as if technique right now, and we will have it in another day because we are having the regular webinar series at 5. So we will have that second technique in some other day. So I'll let you know that when we will have that technique, based on the consent from all the members, we'll have it. And on that day, you have to come up with list out that all the maladaptive behavior. The second task is, for example, you are saying that pyromania. Do you know that pyromania? Kleptomania. So, okay, you find out that these are maladaptive behavior problems. Okay, I'm giving that one of the name. There are many both opposite deviant behavior. So these are some of the maladaptive behavior listed out. And your second thing is, and which one is most frequently occurring in almost all the family. Prioritize rating, you have to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that way, you can go for 10, up to 10. And remaining, you can leave it. Because when the least occurring things will have a very minimum claimed, that won't be any benefit for you. And if it is a more problem, is there more maladaptive behavior in a family, you just take it and you can find out how we can solve the problem with that technique. You can come up with a model. In a A4 sheet, you can prepare a model, and we will discuss on the when we are discussing the second technique. On that day, you just come up with the writing, and we will discuss. With that note, I can stop here. And again, I record my sincere gratitude for having the faith on me for the therapeutic techniques. We made an attempt to, really we made on 6 techniques, and today is on 7th technique we are discussing. We plan to have 100 techniques, and this will be refined, and in the coming days, more and more inputs will be added. And thank you so much for support for the initiative of ours. Thank you again from my side and from on behalf of Chandra. And if you have any questions, I will take for another 5 minutes, and we'll go for mental health webinar series. If you have any questions or any feedback, comments, you can welcome.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, now the questioning we are saying, Adlerian questioning. So, do we have any sequence of questioning to be followed, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. There is one. Actually, I found in a book, I think. I wrote it that when I was taking the paper, I was a faculty at Rajiv Gandhi Institute. So where only I found that these inputs. And I realized that these contributions are lost. And he given that all the 18 questions. Yes. Yes. So it is there. I'll do one thing. I'll do scan it and then forward to you. And these questions will be useful for us. And I'll do, or else I will type it and then send it to you.
Is that a book or your notes, sir?
No, it is my notes, but the book is here. I think table. I like show you the book.
Fine.
And here are the 3 books I can suggest. I think those. I think you may attend the Counseling Techniques, Rosemary and Thompson. And this one is a Theory and Design. And another one is about counseling and psychotherapy. So these 3 books, you can get more case study. And this book has a more case study. And this one is about a relationship component. And this one is about a school. more school case studies we can find out these books. And cost is nearly, it comes around 6,000 to 7,000 each books.
Books, sir. Okay, so this is a Adlerian-based theory therapy, sir.
All the
Or it's a-
techniques, not only
it's-
Adlerian, all the techniques, all the techniques.
Okay, fine. Okay, sir. So if possible, just try to share the name of the books in the group, sir. Let
Sure,
me.
sure. I'll do share with you. The same thing. I'll try to find out the e-books of previous editions are there, and then I will do share. Actually, these are color Xerox only I taken. These are the Xerox I taken from that book from RJ and Nodi library. So where they purchased, because they are having a lot of fun, I spend nearly 1,000 rupees for only. So back to back.
If it is soft copies available, we can just get it if not possible. Yeah.
I'll try to find out, and if I have, and then I'll share with you the book.
So these questions are in that book then. Okay. Fine, sir.
Yes. Okay. So
So, Suresh, a last word of thank you from me. So, on behalf of all the participants, as usual, you have always been an asset for our learning journey. And you also have great assets of books to share with the participants. So, we are very happy to learn a new technique from you today. And it seems like I have understood the concept, sir. It is like, bringing any negative behavior into awareness and making the person know without blaming, actually. So I understood the concept, but I think I have read a lot about it personally. And otherwise, it was a wonderful session, sir. Thank you for the knowledge you have shared with us. And on behalf of all the participants, we render our heartfelt thanks to you for the session today. So thank you, participants, for your great cooperation, participation, and support. Keep supporting us. Let's have a wonderful journey together. Thank you. See you all in another session soon. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
thank you.